Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel, and today I'm continuing on in my series where I test out kits from crafts where I have little to no experience. Today's kit is this punch needle kit. Now, this is one of those crafts where I have a little bit of experience, and it wasn't necessarily the best experience ever. I did buy just the punch needle. I didn't buy a kit. I bought the little punch needle, and I thought I can just use my own yarn, right? I have a ton of yarn. And I kept punching it into the embroidery hoop and it just wasn't working. I was getting so frustrated. I think I eventually figured out that the yarn that I had was not the right size for the little needle puncher. And I did eventually figure it out and did eventually get it to work. But at that point, I was just frustrated and I was like, maybe this just isn't the craft for me. And so I just gave all of the supplies to my sister-in-law. And so now I thought, let's try it again. And maybe this kit can teach me how to do it. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and get a closer look at it. Okay, so here is what this box looks like. It is by the brand Hello Hobby, which I think is a Walmart exclusive brand. I could be wrong about that, but I did in fact find this at Walmart. And I did in fact find this in the children's crafts section of Walmart. It is very much geared towards children. And I figure if it can teach a kid how to do punch needling, maybe it can teach me. Okay, here is everything that our kit comes with. And I have to say right off the bat, this is a lot smaller than I was expecting. If you can see the comparison to the size that it is on the box to the size it is in person, but it does say that it's 4 by 4 inches. So I should have been expecting that, but I just didn't read that part and was expecting a bigger hoop. So you can see that this comes with the pre-printed little fox here. We have our hoop and our little felt pieces. We have 3 little, I want to call them safety eyes, although one of them is a nose, but they don't have the backings on them. So I guess you just shove them through the fabric and hope for the best. I don't know. And then we have our yarn, which is just kind of your standard acrylic, kind of scratchy, but not too bad type of yarn. So here is the punch needle tool here, and it does come with a threader as well. And I do remember that being a little bit complicated last time as well, getting my little punch needle threaded properly. And the threader that I had bought last time broke on me, and I remember having to make a threader. All of this is coming back to me now. I feel like I have trauma from last time. But anyway, I did have to end up making my own little threader out of just some fishing wire. It was a nightmare. So let's hope that this goes much better than that. Let's go ahead and I'm going to read the instructions just a little bit and then we will get started. Okay, so I went ahead and put my fox into the hoop here. And can you see that this fabric is fraying everywhere? It is already coming apart. That's not great. So we're going to go ahead and thread this little punch needle tool here. It does say to put it in like this so that that is coming out the back side here. And then we put our yarn into here. This yarn is also fraying. Oh gosh, okay. Hold on. We gotta get this yarn into here without it. Okay, there we go. All right, now we need to pull on this little end here and get the yarn to go all the way through. Okay, there it goes. But then it needs to go through here. So we need to take the wire and put it through this little hole right here. Right? Is that the... Okay, what am I doing wrong? Okay, yeah. So I was doing it wrong. I do have to basically take this out and rethread it now. So it has to go through, if you can see, there is a little hole right here. It has to go through that. This direction? Yes, this direction. And then we have to catch the yarn once again, like this, and then we pull the end, and then it will go through. There we go. Okay, so that is the little thing threaded at least. We got that part down. Okay, so now let's start with the punching. Does it show us where to start in our design? Let's see. Yeah, so it says we need to start on this corner right here. And it shows us how to do the punching. It says that the open side needs to be facing the direction that we're going. So we're going in this direction. So we need to be facing this way. And I think for the first one, we need to punch it in and then kind of grab the yarn from the other side and pull the tail through so that we have a tail on this side. I think this is right. Okay, so that is that. All right, so let's go ahead and do our first punch. I don't know, let's just go for it. I think we just pull it up a little bit and then punch back down into here. Oh gosh, why is that? Okay, and then pull back up. See what? This is what was happening last time. I think I'm doing something wrong. So slowly punch the needle upwards out of the fabric, keeping the tip very close to the surface. So maybe I'm like pulling it out too much. And now this like fabric is kind of got holes in it, as you can see. All right, let's try again. We're punching it in and pulling it back out. See, it's not catching. And this is like causing a huge hole. Can you see that? Oh gosh. Let's try again here. It's just not catching. What am I doing wrong? Oh my gosh. Okay, let me read through some directions and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so I think I just wasn't punching it in far enough. It's supposed to go all the way up to this black part here. So let's try again and go all the way to the black part, pull up, and then go again here, all the way to, oh gosh. And then, okay, it's working. It's working. All right. I just wasn't punching it in far enough. Punching it in, pulling it out. Okay, it's working, but no, it's not actually working. It's not actually working. What am I doing wrong? See, that all just came out and this fabric is absolutely falling apart. Can you see that? Lord. Okay, guys, I am trying over here. I have, as you can see, absolutely demolished this fabric in several spots, trying to get the hang of this. I understand that the concept of it is that you create loops and it's supposed to be where, so you pull it out slowly, it's supposed to create a loop like this on the other side. But every time I pull back through, let me show you. Let me push down. Okay. See, it comes out. And I don't know if maybe it's just this fabric because as you can see, it is very thin and it is falling apart as I am doing the little sections. I don't know. I think part of it is a me problem because I am such a tension girl. When it comes to crochet, you guys know I like to keep a nice tight tension. So I don't know if I'm just gripping this too much to the point where it's not creating those loops like it's supposed to, but it just wants to come out. I was kind of getting the hang of it for a bit. And then as soon as I pull back out, okay, it's kind of working now. And I think I'm doing the wrong color. I think this part is supposed to be, see, it just comes out again. So I do think that my instinct the first time that I gave up this craft was correct. I don't think that this is a craft for me, but I'm not going to give up quite yet. I think I'm going to go grab some fabric from my stash, just some fabric that I use for embroidery, and see if maybe it's this fabric that's causing me problems or is it just a me problem. So I'm going to go do that really quick. Okay, ignore how wrinkled this fabric is. I am going to just try and see if maybe it was the fabric that was causing me issues. So let's go ahead and do our first one where we have to punch it in. Okay, this is like, it's feeling so much more tension with this fabric. And then we have to pull this yarn from the other side to give us a little tail here. Okay. And then we're going to punch. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is causing me like a lot more tension. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Okay, slowly. And then let's see, moment of truth. Go in again. Is it going to stay? No. It's definitely a me problem, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And there's really just no explanation in these instructions for like what your tension should be. Like it does show you here that you should have these like big, huge loops on the underneath side. And that's just not happening for me. Okay. Maybe I'm going to go look up some tutorials and see if that helps me. I'll be right back. Okay, so I did watch some tutorials and I'm getting the hang of it a little bit more. I still don't know if I love it, but I think my problem is that whenever I was trying to go into the next space, I was lifting my needle up a little bit too high. You're really supposed to always keep this tip of the needle against your fabric. And I have to say these Walmart kids instructions don't tell you that. They do say keep the needle close to the fabric, but you basically want it to be completely touching it. The tutorial I watched said you basically need to glide the tip across instead of like pulling up. And so I think that that is helping me quite a bit. As you can see, it's going a bit better. And I'm just trying to keep my tension extremely loose, which I am not used to at all. I am used to crocheting, and I'm used to crocheting amigurumi, where I have to keep a very tight tension at all times. And so this is just way out of my comfort zone, but I am getting the hang of it, I think. So I'm going to try to complete this little body portion of the fox, and then I'll check back in with you. Okay, so I finished the little body of the fox. Does it look perfect? Absolutely not, but I did it. I'm so happy that I stuck with it. I kept going, but the back of this feels so unsecure to me. I don't know how, it doesn't even have you tie a knot on these ends. It just says to cut it off. So I hope that's secure enough. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is go and get cozy, comfy on my couch because I'm a little bit stressed. I had a little bit of a mental breakdown there for a minute thinking that I wasn't going to be able to do this, but that tutorial really did help. So if you're doing this, make sure you remember to have loose tension and to just glide the little, I keep wanting to call this a punch needler. I don't think that's what you call it. Punch needle tool. I don't know. What do you call this thing? But you just glide it on the fabric. You don't want to my instinct is to pull it up, but you don't really pull it up at all. So it's going okay now. I'm going to be all right, but I am going to go get comfy and cozy. I have to say another thing is that I really don't like the color of this yarn. As you can see, it's a very different color from the color of the fox on the packaging. And it's quite a different color from these ears. Look at that. I don't know. We're just going with it. We're doing our best. And thankfully, this is quite a small project, so hopefully I'll be able to finish this by the end of the day. Let's cross our fingers. Okay, guys, so here is where I'm at. I did sort of finish the orange sections, although now that I'm looking at it, there are some spots where I could probably fill back in if I care to do that, but I probably won't because I'm just not enjoying this, you guys. This is just not relaxing to me as much as I wish that it was. I wish that I liked this more than I do. I think I like punch needling in theory. I like the idea of it, but in practice, I'm just not having a good time. And I'm trying to think of why is it that I am not enjoying this? Because I've never really talked about this on the channel before, but I love embroidery. I went through a big embroidery phase for a while, just embroidering different things in hoops. And I love that. That is so relaxing to me. But this isn't. And I think that it all comes down to the fact that you have to be so precise with your tension, or at least for me, I have to go so slow and just really concentrate on getting that exactly correct so that the stitches don't all pull out. And so I'm just not really able to relax into this, at least not yet. So I just at this point am like, I don't know if this is the craft for me. Maybe at some point I'll magically fall in love with this, but as of right now, I'm like, I just don't love it. I don't love it. Okay, so here is where we are at, and I am straight up not having a good time. I just do not enjoy this craft at all. And I'm happy that this is as small as it is, because now I'm almost done. And I just really do not understand this kit's logic of giving these plastic eyes and nose without the backing. Like, if you're going to give safety eyes, have the safety part, which is the backing part where you can actually clip these in. These are completely unsecure. As you can see, I could easily pull that out. My nose doesn't really want to like stay straight. As you can see, like it's easy for it to turn and be crooked. I mean, I know the purpose of this would be to just like hang on a wall. This is definitely not going on a wall in my house. This is going to get shoved in a bin somewhere and never looked at again. Yeah, I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. I wasn't expecting this. I am just going to finish up now. I have to add in all of the felt portions, and you do punch needle the felt into the fabric. We'll see how that goes. I am going to move back over to my desk to finish that up, and then I will meet you for my final thoughts. The one good thing I have to say so far is at least this was quick. Okay, well, my fox is done, and that's about all I can say about him, is that he is done. And I don't think I've ever been so happy to be done with a project in my life. I was a little bit disappointed when I first opened this and saw how small it was. Now I am so grateful that this wasn't any bigger, because even as small as this is, it still took me about 3 hours to make. And that's 3 hours of my life that I will never get back. First, let's talk about this Hello Hobby punch needling kit, and then we'll talk about how I feel about punch needling in general. So this kit was only $5 at my local Walmart. This whole time I was thinking that it was $10 for some reason, but it was only $5, and it was in the kids craft section. So I feel like my expectations should have been a lot lower than they were. I will say I do like that it comes with this wooden embroidery hoop. I'm going to add this to my stash. I'm going to promptly take this out and, I don't know, throw it in a drawer somewhere and keep this hoop to use for future purposes. So, you know, that's one good thing. I will also say that the punch needle itself was fine. I mean, it did the job, and the threader didn't fall apart like the last threader, whatever that thing is called that I bought. That one completely fell apart. This one stayed intact. I will say that those are some pros, I guess. The yarn was just okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best either. I don't like that the yarn doesn't match the felt color or match the yarn on the box at all. I don't understand this kid's choice to use safety eyes without a backing to them. The felt was a nightmare to work with. It basically has these holes you're supposed to punch through, but it kept falling apart. And I mean, I did my best, but I do not feel like this looks very good at all. Now, I will say that the instructions in this kit were not so bad. They definitely could have been worse. I don't think that my problems in the beginning were really the instructions' fault. I think that came down more to my tension coming from being a crocheter, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the instructions had a lot of diagrams. It was in full color. It was pretty easy to follow along. And I think that they could have been much worse. I will say that. For a $5 kit, the instructions could have been much, much worse. So as I've already alluded to, or probably just outright said, I just don't think that this craft is for me. I don't think that it's bad or that it's terrible or that you like it. I'm saying anything bad about you. Please don't take it that way. It's just not the craft for me. I don't find the motion of it relaxing at all. I don't like that it's so restrictive. Like with embroidery, for instance, I find embroidery relaxing, but I like that it has a lot more freedom of where you can put the stitches. With this, you have to go in a straight line, and then you have to make sure that your tool is turned the correct way and then go the other direction. It's just not as of a free-form project as something like embroidery, and I don't know why in my mind I expected it to be, but it's just not. I think with all of those restrictions and just me not really understanding the tension, it just left me with a lot more stress. It was not relaxing to me at all. I really don't think that I can blame this kit for this at all. As I mentioned, I did already try this once before, and I thought, you know, let's give it a second try. Let's see for sure. And now I know for sure that this is just not the craft for me. I'm glad that I didn't end up buying a super expensive kit. This was only $5, so at the end of the day, I spent $5 to know for sure that this is just not the craft for me. I'm really sorry if this was a bummer of a video. I thought about scrapping it, but I already told you guys I was gonna be working on punch needling, and I know some of you were looking forward to that. So, you know, I tried. I really did try. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you've made it to this point, I want to know, what were you working on as you watched today's video? If you did like today's video, be sure to hit the like button. You can subscribe, stick around, let me know what other kind of videos you want to see next. You can join my Patreon where I make a bonus video as well as an exclusive pattern once a month. And thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.